Imagine you're standing in a room, the air buzzing with tension, and there she is, someone who catches your eye, not just because of how she looks, but because of how she carries herself. You could throw out a generic line, something safe like, "You're pretty," and maybe she'd smile politely before drifting away. But you're not here for safe. You want her to pause, to feel something deeper, to lean in without even realizing it. That's where the first forbidden compliment comes in, rooted in the Stoic idea of seeing beyond the surface. You look at her, lock eyes, and say, "You have a fire in you that most people spend their whole lives trying to find." Now, this isn't flattery for the sake of it. It's observation with weight. Stoicism teaches us to strip away the noise and focus on what's real. And that's what you're doing here. You're not praising her dress or her hair. You're pointing to something intangible, something she might not even see in herself yet. The beauty of this is it's rare. Most people don't notice the quiet strength in others, let alone call it out. And because it's rare, it lands differently. She might blink, caught off guard, and ask, "What do you mean?" That's your opening. You don't over-explain, just shrug and say, "I can feel it." It's in the way you move, the way you're here, but not chasing anyone's approval. See, Stoicism isn't about grand gestures. It's about control, clarity, and cutting through the chaos. This compliment works because it's not needy. It's you standing in your own power, reflecting hers back. It's forbidden because it's bold, unguarded, and doesn't play by the usual rules of small talk. Most guys won't risk it. They'll stick to the shallow end, afraid to dive into something real. But you're not most guys. You're signaling you see her, not just the mask she wears for the world. And that's what makes her pause. What stirs something in her she didn't expect to feel. It's not about drooling in some exaggerated sense. It's about that flicker of intrigue, that moment where she wonders who you are and why you're different. That's the Stoic edge. You're calm, you're present, and you've just flipped the script on what she thought this conversation would be. All right, let's move into the second forbidden compliment, where we turn up the heat while keeping that Stoic coolness intact. Picture this. You're talking to her now, the conversation flowing, and there's a moment where she says something, maybe a sharp opinion, a quick laugh, or even a subtle glance that reveals more than she meant to. Most people would let it slide, nod along, or toss out something predictable like, "That's cute." But you're not here to coast. You lean in just slightly, your voice steady, and say, "You've got a mind that cuts through the noise. Most people don't even realize they're drowning in it." This isn't just a compliment. It's a quiet thunderclap. Stoicism is all about mastering yourself, seeing the world for what it is, not what it pretends to be. And here you're recognizing that in her. You're not praising her looks or her charm. You're calling out her intellect, her awareness, in a way that feels almost dangerously perceptive. It's forbidden because it's intimate, not in a physical sense, but in a way that pierces the usual armor people wear. She might not be used to someone noticing her like that, and that's the point. You're not begging for her attention. You're reflecting something back to her that she might not even fully own yet. The Stoic twist here is your delivery. No desperation, no over-the-top flair, just a calm, unshakable certainty. Maybe she smirks and says, "You think so?" And you just nod, letting the silence do the rest. See, the power isn't in explaining yourself to death. It's in leaving her with that spark of curiosity. Why does this make her drool, figuratively speaking? Because it's disarming. She's used to surface-level chatter, but you've just sidestepped all of that and gone straight for something real. It's like you've seen through the haze of the room and pinned her essence down with a single sentence. And here's the kicker. You're not trying to impress her. You're just stating what you see, like a Stoic philosopher observing the nature of things. That lack of neediness, that quiet confidence, is what lingers in her mind. She might not say it, but she'll feel it, a pull toward you, not because you're chasing her, but because you're standing apart. It's the kind of compliment that doesn't just flatter. It challenges her to rise to it, to match the version of herself you've just painted. And that's where the magic happens, when she starts wondering how you see so much, and why it feels so damn good to be seen. Here we go with the third forbidden compliment, where we seal the deal with a Stoic punch that's subtle, yet unforgettable. Imagine the night's winding down, the energy's shifting, and she's still there. Maybe she's just told a story, cracked a joke, or handled some chaos in the room with a grace that most would miss. You've been watching, not just with your eyes, but with that Stoic lens that cuts through the fluff. You catch her gaze, hold it for a beat, and say, you carry a strength that doesn't need to shout. Most people waste their lives yelling for what you just quietly hold. This isn't some rehearsed line. It's raw, real, and hits like a velvet hammer. Stoicism teaches us to value what endures, to respect the quiet power that doesn't bend under pressure, and that's exactly what you're spotlighting here. You're not talking about her smile or her style. You're pointing to the core of her, the part that doesn't need validation because it just is. It's forbidden because it's vulnerable, not for you, but for her. You're daring to name something she might not even admit to herself, and that takes guts. Most people stick to the shallow waters. You're fun, you're sweet, but you're diving deeper, and she feels it. The Stoic edge is in your restraint. You don't gush, you don't pile on extra words. You say it like it's a fact, not a plea, and let it hang there. Maybe she tilts her head, half smiling, and says, "That's a new one," and you just shrug. It's not new, it's you. That's the clincher. You're not fishing for her approval. You're standing in your own frame, unshaken, like Marcus Aurelius watching the world spin. Why does this make her drool in that metaphorical sense? Because it's magnetic. She's not used to someone seeing her strength and naming it so plainly, without agenda. It's not about flattery. It's about recognition, and that's a drug most people don't even know they crave. She might not chase you across the room, but she'll remember you. She'll replay that moment later, wondering how you got under her skin with so few words. And the secret? It's the Stoic calm you bring. No need to prove anything, no rush to fill the silence. You've just handed her a mirror to her own power, and that's a gift she won't forget. It's the kind of compliment that doesn't just spark attraction. It plants a seed, one that grows every time she thinks of you, and that unshakable way you saw her. The night's moved into a different rhythm now. Maybe the music's softer, or the conversation's found a deeper groove. She's standing there, maybe sipping something, her guard still up, but cracking just enough for you to notice. You've already hit her with fire, intellect, and strength. But Stoicism's about seeing the whole picture, not just the pieces. So you wait for the right beat, Maybe she's just brushed off some loudmouth with a sly comment, or she's watching the room like she's above the fray. You step closer, voice low but clear, and say, "You've got a stillness in you that turns chaos into something beautiful. Most people break under it, but you shape it. This isn't about her looks or her wit this time. It's about her presence, that quiet command that doesn't need to flex. Stoicism's core is mastering the storm inside and out, and you're telling her you see that in her, not as a guess, but as a truth. It's forbidden because it's bold. Most wouldn't dare call out something so subtle, so unguarded. You're not just complimenting her. You're peeling back a layer she might not even show the world. She might raise an eyebrow, half smirking, and say, "Stillness? That's a stretch." But you don't back down. You nod and say, "It's not loud, but it's there. I'd miss it if I wasn't paying attention." That's the Stoic play. No fluff, just precision, like Epictetus cutting through delusions. Why does this one hit? Because it's personal without being pushy. It's you observing her like she's a force of nature, not a prize to win. She's not used to that. People fawn or flirt, but they don't see her like this, and that's where the drool factor kicks in. Not literal, but that pull where she's hooked despite herself. You're not chasing, you're standing there, rooted, letting her feel the weight of your words. Maybe she lingers a second longer, testing the silence, and you don't fill it. Stoicism doesn't need to. You've just handed her a mirror to something rare, something she might not even name in herself, and that's the magic. It's not about her owing you anything. It's about her wondering how you got so close without trying. And as you ease back into the night, that stillness you saw in her, it's now tangled up with you in her mind, a thread she'll tug on later when she's alone. So there you have it. 4 forbidden compliments that don't just turn heads, but shift the whole damn room. You've got the fire that sparks her curiosity, the mind that cuts through the noise, the strength that doesn't need to scream, and now that stillness that bends chaos into something worth watching. These aren't pickup lines or cheap tricks. They're Stoic truths, forged from a philosophy that's been around for centuries, sharpened to hit harder than any overplayed flattery ever could. Think about it. Marcus Aurelius didn't waste words on fluff. Seneca didn't grovel for attention, and Epictetus didn't bend to impress anyone. They saw the world clear-eyed, spoke what mattered, and let the rest fall away. That's what you're doing here, stripping away the small talk, the desperate grabs, and handing her something real. You're not begging her to like you. You're standing there unshaken, showing her what she might not even see in herself. And that's why it works. She doesn't drool because you're some smooth-talking charmer. She's drawn in because you're different, because you've got that quiet power most guys don't even know exists. It's not about forcing her to feel something. It's about planting a seed that grows when she's replaying your words later, wondering how you got under her skin with so little effort. That's the Stoic way. Less noise, more weight. You've seen how these compliments land, not as flimsy bait, but as mirrors to her own depth, delivered with a calm that says you don't need her to agree. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about her. It's about you, how you carry yourself, how you see the world through that Stoic lens, how you master the chaos instead of drowning in it. That's the real game changer. If you want to take this further, dive into the source, grab a copy of Meditations, wrestle with Seneca's letters, or just sit with these ideas and let them sink in. And if you're ready to live this out, not just talk it. Check out Stoic Venture. It's where we're breaking this down. Stoicism applied, not just preached, for guys like you who want to cut through the bullshit and build something real. Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and let's keep this going. Because this isn't the end, it's the start. You've got the tools now. Go use them. Be the man who doesn't chase shadows, who doesn't flinch, who says what he sees and lets the rest unfold. That's Stoic Venture's promise. Live it, own it, and watch the world shift around you.